Admiral Eliza Raine stood alone on the observation deck of the USS Defiant. The stars stretched endlessly before her, cold points of light against the darkness. Her tall figure remained still, hands clasped behind her back, face tight with anger. For 17 years she had served Earth and the Galactic Council faithfully. 17 years of following orders, of putting duty first, of believing in something bigger than herself. The data pad in her hand felt heavy. She had read the message 15 times already, hoping the words might somehow change. They didn't. The order was clear. All Earth forces were to leave Proxima Centauri within 2 days. The colony, 8 million men, women, and children, would be given to the Vordax Empire as part of a peace deal. Cowards, she whispered to the empty room. The door slid open behind her. Commander Frank Winters entered, his steps slow and careful. She didn't need to turn to know the look on his face. They had served together for 9 years. He was more than her second in command. He was her friend. "The crew is waiting, Admiral," he said. "They know something's wrong." Raine turned, her blue eyes sharp in her weathered face. "The Council has ordered us to abandon Proxima." Winters looked down at the floor. He had known what the message contained. "It's confirmed. We pull out in 48 hours. 8 million people, Frank." Her voice didn't rise, but the anger in it filled the room. 8 million humans handed over to creatures who see us as nothing but meat and labor. Everyone in the fleet knew about the Vordax. The alien empire had been pushing at the edges of human space for decades. They needed workers for their mines, their factories, their toxic farms. They didn't take prisoners. They took slaves. Those who couldn't work were processed for food or fuel. "The Council says this treaty will bring lasting peace," Winters said, though his voice made it clear he didn't believe it. "Peace?" Raine laughed, a hard sound with no joy in it. "How many treaties have the Vordax broken in the last 10 years? 5? 6? She walked to the view screen and pressed a button. The stars disappeared, replaced by an image of Proxima Centauri and its inhabited world. New Eden, they called it. 17 years of human work had turned a hostile planet into a garden. "I visited last year," she said more softly. "Did you know they have orchards now? Real apple trees from Earth. The children had never seen an apple before." Winters stepped closer. "Admiral, I hate this too, but these are our orders." Raine's face hardened again. "Bad orders, Frank. Wrong orders. From the Galactic Council. The same council that promised to protect all human colonies when we joined?" Raine cut him off. "The same council that said, 'All members stand together.' Those promises didn't last long, did they?" She turned away from the screen, her decision made. "I need you to send a message to Captain Olivia Benson on the USS Intrepid and Captain Gregory Holt on the USS Valiant. Secure channel, encrypted with my personal code." Winters didn't move. "May I ask why, Admiral?" "Because I trust them." She met his eyes. "And because I need to know if they remember their real duty." "Admiral," Winters said carefully, "what are you planning?" Raine walked to the door. "Lock down all communications with Council headquarters, then meet me in my ready room with the senior staff." "Eliza." Winters rarely used her first name. "Think about what you're doing. This could be seen as treason." She stopped at the door. "The Council signed away 8 million human lives today. If that's not treason against humanity, what is?" She looked back at him. "The question isn't what I'm planning, Frank. The question is whether you're with me." 20 minutes later, Admiral Raine faced her senior staff in the ready room. 6 faces looked back at her. Winters, Chief Engineer Samantha Kelly, Security Chief Victor Reyes, Medical Officer Dr. Paul Bennett, Communications Specialist Linda Donovan, and Tactical Officer Kyle Peters. All veterans. All people she trusted. "I've called you here because we face the most important decision of our careers," Raine said. "The Council has ordered us to abandon Proxima Centauri to the Vordax." The shock and anger on their faces matched her own. "That's 8 million colonists," Dr. Bennett said, his voice tight. "Exactly." Raine nodded. 8 million human beings sacrificed for a peace treaty that won't last. The Vordax will use them in their labor camps, Reyes said. I've seen what's left of the people they return in prisoner exchanges. Most don't survive 6 months. Raine let the words hang in the air before she continued. I cannot, in good conscience, follow these orders. I will not abandon those people. The room went very quiet. What are you suggesting, Admiral? Kelly asked. I'm suggesting we refuse the order. Raine's voice was steady. I'm suggesting we stay and defend Proxima, with or without Council approval. That's mutiny, Peters said, though he didn't sound opposed to the idea. The Council betrayed us first, Raine replied. They betrayed every oath they made when Earth joined. They betrayed 8 million innocent people. She placed both hands on the table, leaning forward. I swore to defend Earth and her people. That's the oath that matters. That's the oath I intend to keep. Winters spoke up. If we do this, we're on our own. No support, no supplies. I've contacted Captains Benson and Holt. The Intrepid and the Valiant will stand with us. That gives us 3 heavy cruisers to start. She looked around the table. It won't be enough, but it's a beginning. What exactly are you planning? Donovan asked. The Vordax think they can take Proxima because Earth won't fight. Raine's eyes flashed with determination. I intend to show them how wrong they are. War? Dr. Bennett looked shocked. Against the entire Vordax Empire? Not a conventional war, Raine explained. We can't match them ship for ship, but we can hit their supply lines, their outposts. We can make holding Proxima so costly they'll wish they'd never heard of humans. And the Council? Reyes asked. What about them? The Council made their choice, Raine said coldly. Now I'm making mine. She straightened up. I won't order any of you to join me. This is a choice each of you must make freely. If you stay, you risk everything. Your career, possibly your life. If you want to leave, you can take a shuttle to the nearest Earth base. No hard feelings, no questions asked. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Winters stood up. 17 years we've served together, he said. In all that time, you've never led us wrong. He straightened his uniform. I'm with you, Admiral. One by one, the others stood. The Defiant stands with you, Kelly said, speaking for them all. Raine nodded, feeling both pride and the heavy weight of responsibility. Thank you, she said simply. Then her voice hardened again. Now let's go save those people. As they filed out, Winters stayed behind. You know they'll call this Raine's rebellion, he said. Or worse. Raine's lips curved in a grim smile. Let them call it whatever they want, Frank. Her eyes were cold as space itself. History will know the truth. This isn't a rebellion or a mutiny. She walked to the door and paused. This is the day humanity stopped letting others decide our fate. 3 months passed. What started as one woman's defiance had grown into what news feeds across the galaxy called Admiral Raine's Rogue War. The 3 ships that first refused to abandon Proxima Centauri had become 27. Officers and crew from across the Earth fleet had made the difficult choice to follow Admiral Raine rather than obey the Council's orders. The Vordax hadn't expected resistance. They had believed the Council's promise that Earth forces would withdraw. When Raine's small fleet refused to leave and fired on the first Vordax ships to enter the system, the war began. Now, aboard the USS Defiant, Admiral Raine studied a large holographic map in her makeshift war room. Red dots showed Vordax bases and outposts. 6 of them were crossed out, destroyed by Raine's forces in surprise attacks over the past months. The Vordax are pulling ships from their outer territories, Lieutenant Alan Wade reported. He was young for his position as intelligence officer, but his skills had proved valuable. They're rushing to protect their core worlds. Our hit-and-run attacks are working, Captain Olivia Benson added. She had been one of the first to join Raine's cause, bringing the USS Intrepid and its crew with her. They don't know where we'll strike next. Raine nodded, her face showing the strain of months of constant battle and little sleep. What about supplies? We've established hidden bases in 3 systems, Commander Winters said. Sympathetic colony, Worlds are providing food and medicine. Weapons and fuel are harder to get. And the colonists on Proxima? Raine asked the question that drove her every decision. Safe for now, Wade answered. The Vordax haven't tried another landing since we destroyed their first invasion force. They're keeping warships in orbit, but they're spread thin, watching for us. Raine allowed herself a small smile. Good. The moment they pull those ships, away to chase us, we hit them hard. A chime sounded and Captain Gregory Holt entered the war room. His USS Valiant had been on patrol near the edge of the system. News from Earth, he announced without greeting. His face was grim. The Council has officially declared us rogues. There's a price on your head, Admiral, on all our heads. The room fell silent. They had expected this, but hearing it made it real. How much am I worth? Raine asked dryly. Holt's mouth quirked up slightly. 5 million credits. Highest bounty in Council history. I'm flattered, Raine said, and a few nervous laughs broke. The tension. They wouldn't offer that much if we weren't hurting the Vordax. What about Earth's government? Winters asked. Have they sided with the Council? Officially, yes, Holt replied. They had no choice, but unofficially. He paused. Half the supplies reaching our hidden bases are coming from Earth shipping companies with navigation errors, and 3 more Earth ships are on their way to join us. Raine nodded. Earth's leaders had to maintain the appearance of following Council orders, but many Earthers supported what she was doing. The door opened again, and Commander Winters entered with a young communications officer. The woman's face was pale. Admiral, Winters said urgently, we've received a message from Proxima. The Vordax have begun bombing civilian areas from orbit. The room froze. This was what they had feared most. Casualties? Raine asked, her voice tight. Initial reports say thousands, the officer replied. They're targeting population centers, farms, water treatment facilities. They're trying to force our hand, Captain Benson said, anger clear in her voice. They want us to rush back to Proxima. Where? They'll have their main fleet waiting for us, Holt finished. All eyes turned to Raine. This was the moment that would define her leadership. We can't abandon those people, Dr. Bennett said from the doorway. He had been listening. That's why we're fighting in the first place, and we won't abandon them, Raine said firmly. But we won't be reckless either. The Vordax expect emotional humans to make emotional decisions. She turned to her officers. We're going to do something they don't expect. She pointed to a spot, far from Proxima on the holographic display. A small moon orbited a gas giant deep in Vordax territory. What's that? Wade asked, leaning closer. The Vordax homeworld's secondary moon, Raine explained. It houses their largest automated defense factory. Every warship in their fleet gets its shield systems and weapons from that facility. That's deep in their territory, Benson said, a worried frown on her face. Their defenses there will be massive. Yes, Raine agreed. Which is why they won't expect us to attack it. All their attention is on Proxima and protecting their core worlds from our raids. Even if we reach it, Holt said, thinking it through, our forces aren't large enough to take out a target that big. We don't need to destroy the whole moon, Raine said. Just the main production facility. My engineers have been working on something special for this moment. She pressed a button, and the hologram changed to show a small device no bigger than a human hand. What is that? Wade asked. We call it the Nova Seed, Raine said. Based on Vordax technology we captured in our first battle. It creates a chain reaction in their shield generators. One device can take down an entire defense network. If this works, Winters said slowly, without replacement shield systems, their fleet becomes vulnerable, Raine finished. Within weeks they'll start losing ships faster than they can repair them. But the bombing on Proxima, Dr. Bennett insisted. We can't let them keep killing civilians while we go after this factory. We won't, Raine assured him. Captain Holt, your Valiant is the fastest ship we have. Take half our fighter craft and return to Proxima. Don't engage the Vordax fleet directly. Use hit-and-run tactics to keep them busy and away from civilian areas. Holt nodded sharply. Meanwhile, Raine continued, The Defiant and the Intrepid will lead our main force to the Vordax moon. We'll deploy the Nova Seed and cripple their war machine at its source. The Vordax will throw everything they have at us once they realize what we're planning, Benson warned. I'm counting on it, Raine said. Every ship they send after us is one less ship bombing Proxima. She looked around the room at the officers who had risked everything to follow her. I won't lie to you. This mission has little chance of success, and those who go may not return. I won't order anyone to come with me. You don't need to order us, Admiral, Winters said. We made our choice 3 months ago. The others nodded in agreement. Then prepare your ships, Raine said. We leave in 6 hours. As the officers filed out to ready their crews, Winters stayed behind. The Council called this your rogue war, he said quietly. What do you call it? Raine looked at the holographic display, at the red dots representing Vordax forces that threatened the human colonists she had sworn to protect. Necessity, she answered simply. What we do because no one else will. She switched off the display and straightened her uniform. The Council traded human lives because they feared the Vordax were too powerful to fight. We're going to show the entire galaxy they were wrong. Admiral Raine, please respond. This is an emergency. The desperate voice crackled through the Defiant's damaged communications system. The bridge was filled with smoke. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the faces of the surviving crew. Alarms blared as damage control teams rushed to put out fires and seal hull breaches. The attack on the Vordax moon had succeeded, but at a terrible cost. 3 ships destroyed, hundreds of crew lost. The Defiant itself barely escaped, limping, away with severe damage to its engines and life support systems. Admiral Raine had been in engineering when a Vordax missile struck. The explosion threw her against a wall, leaving a deep gash in her side. Despite the medics' protests, she refused to stay in sickbay. Her ship needed her. She limped onto the bridge, one hand pressed against her bandaged wound. Blood had already soaked through the white dressing. This is Admiral Raine, she answered, easing herself carefully into the command chair. Admiral, thank God. The voice belonged to Joseph Pearson, Earth's representative on the Galactic Council. His image appeared on the cracked view screen, his face pale with fear. The Vordax have launched a direct attack on Earth's orbital defenses. They're claiming it's retaliation for your raids. Raine exchanged shocked glances with Commander Winters. This wasn't supposed to happen. According to their intelligence, the Vordax didn't have enough ships to threaten Earth directly, not with the forces they had committed elsewhere. Where is the Council fleet? She demanded. The treaty promised Earth protection in exchange for Proxima. Pearson's face showed a mix of shame and fear. That's why I'm contacting you. The other Council races. They're claiming this is an internal matter between Earth and the Vordax. They're not sending help. The words hit Raine like a physical blow. The Council had never intended to honor their agreements with humanity. The sacrifice of Proxima had just been the beginning. So now they need us, she said bitterly. Earth needs you, Pearson corrected. Our orbital defenses can't hold out for more than 3 days. Civilian evacuation has already begun, but there's not enough time or ships to save everyone. Raine looked around her damaged bridge. Her crew watched her, waiting for her decision. They had all sacrificed everything to follow her in defending Proxima. Now Earth itself was under attack. Send me Earth's defensive positions, she ordered. We're coming home. After Pearson's transmission ended, Raine called an emergency meeting with her surviving captains. They gathered via hologram, some from bridges as damaged as her own. The Nova Seed worked, she told them. The Vordax factory moon is crippled, but they've played their hand earlier than we expected. They're attacking Earth directly, and the Council is doing nothing, Captain Benson added, anger clear in her voice. We always knew they might betray us, Winters said. That's why we acted on our own in the first place. How many ships do we have left that can fight? Raine asked. The numbers were grim. Of the original 27 ships, only 19 remained, combat capable, and many of those had suffered damage. Against the Vordax armada threatening Earth, it would be a slaughter. We need allies, Captain Benson insisted. Who would ally with us? Captain Holt countered. We've been declared rogues by the Council. No one will risk helping us. Admiral Raine, who had been silent, finally spoke. The Trellians. The room erupted in protests. The Trellians were one of the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they had remained neutral in all conflicts for over 300 years. The Trellians refused to get involved in galactic politics, Winters said. They've rejected Council membership for centuries. They rejected the Council because they claimed it was corrupt, Raine explained. They said the Council was built on lies and self-interest, not true cooperation. And you think they'll help us? Benson asked skeptically. Raine straightened, despite the pain in her side. I've been in secret contact with their ambassador since this began. They've been watching our war closely. And, Holt prompted, they respect those who stand by their principles even against impossible odds. Raine's voice grew stronger as she spoke. Unlike the Council, the Trellians value honor and courage. They've seen how we fight not for territory or power, but to protect innocent lives. If they've been watching all this time, why haven't they helped before now? Winters asked. They needed to be sure of our intentions, Raine replied. The Trellians don't enter conflicts lightly, but now that the Vordax are threatening Earth itself, they see the true danger. The Vordax won't stop with human worlds. She looked around at the tired, wounded officers who had followed her into this fight. Set course for the Trellian Diplomatic, stationed at the edge of the Arcturus system. We have 48 hours before the Vordax break through Earth's defenses. What if the Trellians refuse? Holt asked the question no one wanted to voice. Raine's expression hardened. Then we fight. Anyway, Earth is our home. We will defend it with our last breath. The journey to the Trellian station took 20 precious hours. Another 8 hours passed in tense negotiations. The Trellian ambassador, a tall, silver-skinned being with eyes like liquid gold, listened to Raine's plea without expression. You ask much of us, Admiral, the ambassador said when she finished. The Trellians have kept peace with all species for 3 centuries. To join your war would end that peace. There will be no peace for anyone if the Vordax are not stopped, Raine argued. You've seen their pattern. First they take a colony world, then another. Now they move against a founding world of the Council itself. If Earth falls, who will be next? The ambassador was silent for a long moment. Then, to everyone's surprise, he bowed deeply to Admiral Raine. For 3 months, we have watched you fight not for conquest or revenge, but to protect your people, he said. While the Council betrayed their oaths for political gain, you kept yours at great personal cost. He straightened, his golden eyes seeming to glow. The Trellian High Command has authorized me to offer you our support. Our battle fleet will join yours in defense of Earth. Relief washed over Raine so strongly that she nearly collapsed. Winters stepped forward to steady her. Thank you, she said simply. The ambassador nodded. Our ships await your command, Admiral Raine. The Trellians stand with humanity. 6 hours later, the combined fleet of human and Trellian vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel, directly into the battle for Earth. The Vordax, unprepared for the Trellians' advanced weapons, found their formations broken within the first hour of battle. On the bridge of the hastily repaired USS Defiant, Admiral Raine watched as enemy ships scattered and fled before the Trellian cruisers. Their weapons cut through Vordax shields like they weren't even there. The Vordax flagship is hailing us, Lieutenant Wade announced, surprise evident in his voice. They're surrendering to you personally, Admiral. Before Raine could respond, another communication came through. Admiral, the full Galactic Council is requesting an immediate audience. Raine looked at the view screen where Earth hung beautiful and blue against the blackness of space. Damaged, but safe. For now. Tell the Vordax I accept their surrender, she said, and inform the Council that I'll speak with them when Earth safety is secured. She turned to Commander Winters. We've won this battle, Frank, but the real fight is just beginning. Winters nodded, understanding what she meant. The war against the Vordax might be ending, but the battle to change the Council, to make them truly protect all their members, was only starting. Whatever comes next, he said, we're with you. Raine looked around at her loyal crew, then back at the image of Earth. Then let's finish what we started. 3 days after the Battle of Earth, Admiral Eliza Raine stood before the full Galactic Council. The great chamber was silent as she entered, her uniform clean and pressed despite the arm still in a sling. Behind her walked representatives from Earth's government and a delegation of silver-skinned Trellians. Raine's face showed no emotion as she approached the central platform. The last time Earth had stood before the Council, they had ordered the sacrifice of Proxima Centauri. Now the same council members watched her with a mix of fear and respect. The High Counselor, a tall being with multiple eyes that blinked nervously, spoke first. Admiral Eliza Raine, the Council has reviewed the events of the past 6 months. His voice echoed in the large chamber. It has become clear that our decision regarding the Proxima colony was incorrect. Raine said nothing. The word incorrect felt small compared to the lives lost. The High Counselor shifted uncomfortably under her steady gaze. The intelligence provided by the Vordax Empire was false, he continued. We now understand their true plan was to separate humanity from its allies, beginning with Proxima and ending with an attack on Earth itself. We knew that 6 months ago, Raine said, her voice cool and controlled. That's why we fought. Murmurs spread through the watching delegates. No one usually interrupted the High Counselor. Another council member rose. This one was a reptilian Draxian, scales gleaming under the chamber lights. Without your intervention, Admiral Raine, Earth would have fallen, and the Vordax would have continued their expansion, threatening all Council worlds. The Council formally withdraws all charges against you and your fleet, the High Counselor declared. Furthermore, we offer our official apology to humanity for our failure to uphold our sworn duties as allies. Raine finally stepped forward. I accept your apology on behalf of the 8 million colonists of Proxima Centauri who lived in fear for months. Her voice was hard as steel. I accept on behalf of the 3,000 officers and crew who died in what you call my rogue war, while you did nothing. No one in the chamber spoke. Many council members looked away, unable to meet her eyes. But apologies don't bring back the dead, Raine continued. They don't rebuild destroyed homes or heal the wounded. No, the High Counselor agreed, his voice solemn. They do not, which is why the Council has voted to create a new position, Supreme Commander of the Joint Defense Fleet. We offer this position to you, Admiral Raine. Surprised whispers filled the chamber. Such a position had never existed before. The Joint Fleet will answer directly to a new Security Council, the High Counselor explained. This council will include representatives from all member worlds, including Earth and the Trellian Federation. No single world's interests will be placed above the safety of all. Raine looked back at the Trellian ambassador, who gave a slight nod. Why should I trust any offer from this council? She asked, turning back to face the High Counselor. You broke your word once before. Because we understand now what you knew from the beginning, the Draxian Counselor answered. That we are stronger together than apart. That an attack on one member world must be treated as an attack on all. The High Counselor added, the Council failed its test, Admiral. You did not. We need your leadership to ensure we never fail again. Raine considered the offer carefully. She had never wanted power or position. She had only wanted to protect her people. But perhaps from this new role she could ensure that no world would be sacrificed as Proxima nearly was. I will accept, she finally said, on one condition. Name it, the High Counselor replied. The first mission of this joint fleet will be to liberate any remaining human prisoners from Vordax territory. Her eyes were cold. And to ensure the Vordax Empire is permanently dismantled so they can never threaten any world again. The Council members exchanged glances. What she asked would not be easy, but after the display of Trellian military power, few doubted it was possible. Agreed, the High Counselor said. As Raine left the council chamber, Commander Winters fell into step beside her. He had been standing quietly at the back watching the proceedings. From Rogue Admiral to Supreme Commander in 6 months, he said with a hint of a smile. Not bad. For the first time in a long while, Raine allowed herself a genuine smile. The real work is just beginning, Frank. The council apologized today, but we'll need to make sure they never forget why they had to. They walked in silence for a moment before Winters asked, "Do you think they're sincere about changing the way the council operates?" "Some are," Raine replied, thinking of the Draxian counselor who had supported her. "Others are just afraid of the Trellians, or worried about the next Vordax that might come along." She shrugged her good shoulder. "It doesn't matter if they're sincere, as long as they act correctly." They reached a large viewport that looked out over the council world's gleaming capital city. Far above in orbit, ships from a dozen worlds hung like stars, the beginning of the new joint fleet. "What will you do about the crews that followed you?" Winters asked. "The ones that defied the council to protect Proxima?" "Promote them," Raine said without hesitation. "Every officer and crew member who stood with us will be recognized for their courage. The council may have apologized, but I want the galaxy to remember that it was ordinary humans who saw the truth and acted when their leaders failed." Earth's senior representative approached them, smiling broadly. "Admiral Raine, or should I say Supreme Commander? The council has agreed to all our additional requests. Increased representation, new trade agreements, protection guarantees for all colonies, large and small." "Good," Raine nodded. "And the Proxima colonists?" "They'll receive full reparations for all damages," the representative assured her. "And extra protection going forward." "Make sure they get it," Raine said firmly. "Those people have suffered enough." As the representative hurried away to continue negotiations, Raine and Winters returned to their shuttle. Through the viewport they could see their ships in orbit, battle-scarred but victorious. "I never wanted to be a rebel," Raine said quietly. "I just wanted to do what was right." "Sometimes doing what's right means standing alone," Winters replied. But you weren't alone for long. Behind them, Earth's representatives began working out the details of humanity's expanded role in galactic affairs. Across the stars, the Proxima colonists celebrated their safety and freedom. And throughout the galaxy, the story spread of how one admiral's refusal to follow immoral orders had changed the course of history. "No," Raine agreed, looking at the ships of a dozen worlds now gathered under her command. "I wasn't alone for long." She straightened, wincing slightly at the pain in her injured arm. "And neither will any world be alone again, if I have anything to say about it." Her communicator beeped. The Trellian ambassador was requesting her presence at a strategy meeting for the upcoming operations against Vordax holdouts. "Let's go, Frank," she said, turning toward the shuttle bay. "We have work to do." As they walked, Winters looked at his old friend and commander. "You know what they're calling you now? The hero of two worlds." Raine shook her head, embarrassed by the title. "I'm just a soldier who kept her oath, nothing more." But she was more, and everyone knew it. In standing against both the Council and the Vordax, Admiral Eliza Raine had not only saved Earth and Proxima Centauri, she had forced the powerful to admit their mistakes and changed the galaxy forever. A galaxy where, from now on, no world would be sacrificed for political convenience and no people would stand alone against tyranny. End of story.